Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request, this time from Mike, OCP Communications. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos or topics, reactions, reviews, re-reviews, randomness, out of blueness, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box under the video. And this is for the 1984 film Romancing the Stone. Now, this is a film directed by Robert Zemeckis. At the time, Robert Zemeckis was having troubles in the directing arena, meaning he had directed films like Used Cars or Kurt Russell, and they didn't do well. They were flops. And there's this film he wanted to do with Bob Gale called Back to the Future, but it's like, well, we can't really see that you could pull this off. You haven't directed a film that was successful. That changed when he did this, and this film was a surprise hit. It was a surprise hit. It helped Robert Zemeckis get Back to the Future made, which came out in '85. And then they fast-tracked the sequel, and you had Jewel of the Nile, I think a year later, in '85, I believe, with Michael Douglas, Kathleen Turner, and Danny DeVito, who starred this film. They came back for that sequel. And the stories that Kathleen Turner, who had worked with Robert Zemeckis on Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Kathleen Turner was the voice of Jessica Rabbit. She is a famous romance novelist, and what happened was her sister had a husband who had passed away in mysterious circumstances, and now her sister is held hostage. And the sister goes, "You have to come to Colombia, and they want some map that was sent to you. Bring it there and they'll let me go." So she goes there. You have Dan DeVito and them going for her, but you also have this other villain, this assassin, going for her as well. And she gets saved by this guy played by Michael Douglas. Now, the actors have no issues with Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner. I think they do the best they can. They have some pretty decent chemistry with each other. Kathleen Turner, beautiful lady, definitely delved in that arena of a woman out of her element. But she wasn't an annoying damsel in distress, victim here type of thing. Michael Douglas definitely has a charming personality, and I always liked him as an actor. You know, I liked him from Falling Down, underrated film, to Black Rain, another underrated film, to The Game, which is my favorite David Fincher film. Love The Game. To Disclosure was actually a pretty decent film, and I felt kind of, in a weird way, Disclosure is an interesting film to look at in today's age. Because it's about sexual harassment, but it's the woman harassing the man. Usually it's the man harassing the woman, but Disclosure is about Demi Moore as a woman in power harassing Michael Douglas and trying to get him canceled. That's really what it is. So, again, Disclosure is kind of interesting. Anyway, and it's a good film too. But yeah, I like Michael Douglas, always did. I may not like every film he's in, but I do really like him as an actor. Dan DeVito, he's not in the film as much as I remembered. I mean, he appears maybe 4 times. Which is funny because I like the way they did the marketing. They shot stuff specifically for the trailer. If you watch the trailer for this, they do a similar thing for the trailer for Jewel of the Nile. It's Danny DeVito. I keep wanting to see Danny Glover. Those are two very different people. Danny DeVito, he makes a phone call, and you can't believe all the stuff I've been through, and it flashes scenes in the movie. Fine, I'll do it. But this time, you're coming with me. And he's talking to the audience. I thought that was pretty clever. That was a clever bit. Again, I wish Danny DeVito had more to do in the film. Like I said, I mean, if you combine it, if he's in it for more than 10 minutes, I'd be surprised. So I do wish he was in the film more. I think that would help. Because at the end of the day, I know no one will agree with me on this, but I thought this was just okay. I thought this was just an alright movie. When I first saw this, I felt the same way. I thought it would change on the second time. It's not a bad film. To me, it's an underwhelming film. I know Michael CP will disagree tremendously on that. That's fine. But to me, it's just meh. Just okay. They're just other adventure stories that I think I felt much more of a pulse, much more invigorated, much more exciting for me personally, whether it be Firewalker with Chuck Norris, whether it be Teen Solomon's Mines from the 80s, whether it be, of course, the Indiana Jones films, whether it be Congo, whether it be even, there's a little bit of adventure, like 50-50 with Peter Weller. Like, there's various other, like, I'm curious about that new film coming out with Sandra Bullock, where it seems almost a bit similar to this film, Romancing the Stone. I know at one point Sylvester Stallone was going to be the star, but he chose Rhinestone instead. And he's done interviews where he talks about how bit of a mistake he made. But again, it just... I don't know what it is. It just... I'm like, okay, alright, but it never pulled me in as much as it did everyone else. This is kind of a movie that, okay, back to the day, it's Friday night, you go see it, you have your popcorn, you get some fun out of it, you leave, it wasn't too bad of a film, and then you head home, and then don't think about it later. I mean, I didn't mind the beginning where she's in her fantasy element, where you have actually Ted White, the guy who played Jason in Friday the 13th Part 4, and the damsel in distress knifes the guy, and it's this Western movie, but in fact it's Kathleen Turner thinking about her novel that she's writing, her new one. And then again, she gets the message about her sister goes there. I guess really there wasn't a whole lot of moments that made me laugh as partly a comedy. There's a few, maybe a couple lines Danny DeVito said, like a couple of his interactions, because he gets so frustrated talking out of a phone, and he's paranoid that he's going to get caught by the police. There's a couple moments with DeVito. And Michael Douglas is having a bit of fun, I will say. Like the bit where, and if you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about, where it's raining, it's muddy, she goes down, and he slides down, and when he slides down, he lands in her lap, and he looks up, and he's laughing. Hell of a ride, huh? And then decides to help her for a couple $100, get to her destination after he scares his assassin off with a shotgun. And then you come to find out that this map deals with a stone that's pretty much a beautiful looking emerald. It looked like an emerald to me. And I don't know, I guess in a weird way, I didn't feel as much of an adventure as I have in other films. I just didn't find a lot of excitement. There's that bit where they slide in the mud. There's a bit where they swing from vines. They find this plane. They have a campfire with drugs. Because it's a plane that was filled with blocks of weed. And then the waterfall, the two leads find it. They find the little treasure. And like I said, that's why I wish Danny DeVito was in it more, because when he showed up, it perked up a bit. Like Danny DeVito gets a drop on him in the cave, and he actually says, "Move it before Batman comes home." Which is ironic, because he would be in a Batman movie in Batman Returns, so... Like, that was a fun line. And like I said, Kathleen Turner and Michael Douglas, I do think they share some decent chemistry, but... You know, it's not... I've seen a lot better. I don't know, just for me, I've seen a lot more fun jungle movies and adventure movies, like The Rundown with Dwayne Johnson, and... I mean, it's better than Jungle Cruise and some of this other shit, but just, I don't know, it never bounced out with an adrenaline rush. And I do think Robert Zemeckis got better with that. I think he got better with humor in films like Back to the Future. I think he got better with excitement in films like Castaway, or even, you know, Forrest Gump. It's definitely not in... I would say it's not in my top 5 Robert Zemeckis films. Because like Back to the Future 1 and 2 would be in there, and Castaway would be in there, and other films. Even like the music was kind of meh. The music is kind of how I felt about the movie. Like the music I thought was fairly forgettable. I can't remember a single note of the music. When I think of other adventure films, I do remember either some of the songs that were playing on the soundtrack or the musical score. I didn't know whether it be Indiana Jones or even King Solomon's Mines. Sorry, I stuttered that. Like I said, I got more excitement of the adventure. Let's say that I thought the romance wasn't too bad. It was the adventure part that was lacking for me. And like the villain, I didn't give two shits about the villain, the assassin guy. Spoiler alert, the one thing I remember, again, spoilers, is at the very end, he tries to catch the stone and a crocodile bites his hand off. And then later on, Kathleen Turner is able to fight him and stop him. And then Michael Douglas later on kills that croc in order to get the thing and get his sailboat he always wanted. So, again, at the end of the day, I didn't care about the villain. I didn't care about the music. The action was there. It was there. I mean, it's very pedestrian when you look at, like, the same year you had Temple of Doom. And even then, I saw action scenes in King Solomon's Mines, and that was a canon film. Low budget, and some of those action scenes I got a lot out of. A lot more excitement, and that adventure, you know, getting the diamond, I got it! Or even Firewalk, where Chuck Norris kicking everybody's ass, and dealing with Sonny Landham at the end, and finding the big vast treasure, and... like the supporting actors, like there's a bit where they find this drug guy who's a big fan of her work, and then you get this car chase that, you know, I've seen on just as well on TV shows at the time, like the A-Team. I don't know, I do think this was the rough early stages of Robert Zemeckis, and yeah, it was a hit because of Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner showing their charisma as movie stars. They made a nice couple, and they had some decent, I don't know if I guess camera work, cinematography. Like, it really seemed like they were out there in the rain and mud during that one sequence, and some of, you know, it didn't look like it was cheap locations or cheap sets or anything. I've always been underwhelmed by Romancing the Stone. It's okay. I liked it for what it is, but I never felt the need to revisit it much like others. I would probably say I still liked it more than Jewel of the Nile, but I don't know, for Michael Douglas, for Robert Zemeckis, for Danny DeVito, there's just other movies I just would gravitate towards. Same with adventure movies. There's just other adventure films I would gravitate more towards than Romancing the Stone. I know it's not much review tips. I can't pinpoint what it is. Maybe I already did. I'm just going in circles. So, like I said, I would probably give it maybe a 3 out of 5 stars. And that's a lot of it's based on Kathleen Turner, Michael Douglas, and a few of the funny lines Danny DeVito has. But again, I just wish it had a stronger music, stronger score, stronger set pieces, more memorable set pieces of action or spectacle, or like the strong adrenaline of adventure. I don't know, just... I don't know what else to say. I know a lot of people will get mad at me for saying that, but I don't hate the film, just can't say I love it to death either. So with that said, thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.